What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I want to cover something kind of similar to our last video where I showed how to clean microfiber towels. But in today's video we're going to show how to clean your polishing pads. Whether it be foam polishing pads or microfiber, I'm going to show you my process on how to do this. Now, obviously when you're detailing cars you go through a lot of pads. They get saturated, depending on the paint's condition. If it's really bad, it's almost like a layer of skin coming off of the paint. If it's oxidized, you want to get that top layer off. All that stuff's going to go into your pad. You got to get that out, otherwise it becomes more abrasive than it should be. So you got to get that stuff out. Another thing is when you're doing like paint corrections and things like that, you're going through a ton of pads and it can get very, very expensive. Pads typically range between 10 and 15 bucks on average. I buy mine at a local supplier and he gives me a deal of 10 pads for 100 bucks, so 10 bucks a pad. I typically use either the Rupes DA pads or the IMJOSHV pads from Lake Country, I believe. Lake Country Udos? Yes. So I'll have the Rupes pads linked down in the description for you guys. Really easy to get. You can order them right on Amazon. The Udos ones are a little bit more difficult to get. I'll try and find a link for you guys for those as well. But let's go ahead and jump in the process. So we're outside. I've got a pile of pads here, a nice stool to sit on because I'm going to be sitting here for a little while. I got my water spigot and I've got my cleaner. Now in this situation, in order to break the contamination that's built up in these pads, once again, guys, I use Super Clean. You can basically use any kind of all-purpose cleaner. Super Clean is a cleaner slash degreaser. Now you may think, is that too aggressive? Well, maybe at full strength, but I dilute it down. Again, as always, they have the dilution chart on the back, and I typically go about 5 parts water, 1 part Super Clean for my pad cleaning. But basically you can see on auto it shows 3 parts water, 1 part Super Clean for carpets and floor mats, or 8 parts water, 1 part Super Clean for vinyl seats, upholstery, car covers. So I go right in the middle there at 5 parts water, 1 part Super Clean. So let's get into the process. All right guys, so the very first thing I do is I throw on a pair of gloves. Just because I'm gonna be using my hands to massage these pads and try and loosen everything up once I apply the cleaner to it. So I just like to do that just to keep my hands free and clear. Now, a lot of people talk about using Dawn dishwashing liquid for their pads. And yeah, that definitely does work as well. But you're still gonna get dishwashing hands, you know, so still wear gloves. But for me, again, guys, in my professional business, I have to move fast, and using the Super Clean gets this job done quicker. I don't have to massage it as long. It really helps to dissolve all the contamination down a lot faster than Dawn dish soap does. Now, other things people have mentioned is if you use Dawn, it makes it so these don't dust as much, meaning when you put the pad down, there's still some leftover residual stuff in there and it blows out. Now, for me personally, guys, when I use Dawn dishwashing liquid, it still does that. So I'll show you a tip at the end of this in order to help prevent that. Now, one thing you want to do, especially while you're actually using the pads working on a car, you can probably hear my air compressor in the background, and that's because you want to try and maintain the pad as much as you can while you're working on the car. Again, like I stated before, this gets contaminated with some of the dead paint that can be on the car, too much compound, all that kind of good stuff. So all you do though, my preferred method is just take a basic air compressor little gun here and just spray it out. So here, okay guys, so as far as that goes, like I said, you want to try and maintain them as much as you can while you're working with them, just so you can get the most out of the pad. Now, job's over. I was working all day today. It's the end of the day, and it's time to clean my pad. So what do? I take this pad, right? First things first, and I'll take my Super Clean, 5 parts water, 1 part Super Clean, and I will saturate the entire pad. And as you do this, guys, you can actually see certain parts already starting to dissolve all that contamination out of the pad. So I'll load this up liberally. I want to saturate the whole pad. Okay, so we're all saturated. Now I'm going to go ahead and start massaging it out. And you can let this dwell in it a little bit as well. But basically you just want to make sure that it's penetrating in and breaking down all that contamination. So you just kind of work from the center and you work your way out, pushing everything out to the sides. It's looking pretty good. Now, just really quickly, because this one was pretty contaminated, I'm just gonna spray a little bit more on there. Let that penetrate a little bit more. You also wanna make sure you get the sides here, guys, because you'll see the layer of contamination will be sitting on that top surface, but you'll be able to see where it is on the side as well. So that is it. We're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and rinse it out now. So I'm just outside, just using a plain water spigot, and we will just turn it on, give it a quick rinse, and then continue to massage it out. And we want to just continue to work this until there's nothing else coming out of the pad. Flip it over a little bit. I like to do this as well. Let it saturate and kind of push, use the weight of the water to push through the pad. And then wring it out. Go at it again. You want to make sure you get that center hole as well, because stuff can kind of build up in there. Now I have clean water coming out of this, and as you can see, the pad looks brand new. Now it's still wet, and we'll get to that after this, but I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next pad. So just to show you guys, I'm going to do the same exact process on this microfiber pad. Let me turn this water off real quick, and we're going to go ahead and saturate it. Let it dwell for a little bit. Okay, and we'll start massaging it out. And the sooner you get to doing this, guys, the sooner you know, if you finish up the day and your pads are saturated and you go to clean them right away, the better off you're going to be. Now, I'll tell you right now, this one's been sitting a little while. I have a lot of pads, and I don't clean them as often as I should. Meaning, once they're saturated, I put them in a box, and then I go through all of them at one time. And I shouldn't do that. I should take care of them right off the bat. So if you can do that, again, I'm just busy, and I don't always get to it right away. The same thing here, guys, just working it out from the middle. And now my microfiber is starting to stand back up. Everything's looking good, and I'm good to go on this pad. I'm gonna go ahead and dry this one out in a second. I'll show you guys that. All right, guys, so I've got my two pads here, right? I have a whole pile over there still that I have to do, but I wanted to show you guys this, so I'm not dragging this out. Basically, what I'll do now is I have a nice trash can here. I'm gonna throw this on my pad. I'm gonna throw this pad onto my dual action polisher. Pop it on there. I'm gonna drop it into here, and I'm gonna turn it on. All the water is gonna fling off inside. I'm not making a big mess, but this is gonna help to dry out the pad much, much faster. Okay. So I'll just let it run for a little bit. I'll actually take my hand and agitate it as well to help kind of pat any of the water out. And there we are, guys. Brand new looking pad. Now these are the IMJOSHV pads. It has this kind of cool green colorway. Now that's the compounding pad, and then they have the polishing pad that is brownish. So probably not the best color to show you guys for cleaning pads, but I just want to give you the idea. Moving on to the microfiber pad. Same process here, guys. Okay, here we go. Nice brand new pad. Microfiber fibers are standing straight up, and it's all good to go. Now you guys may be wondering, Josh, why don't you just throw your pads into the washer and dryer? Well, I don't, because I feel like it doesn't get that real kneading. They're just kind of sloshing around in there. It's not breaking down enough of what I want. This is gonna get the pads as close to as new as possible, getting all that stuff, all that contamination back out of them, so they're gonna be able to work efficiently again and work properly so that you can actually correct your paint. Now, yes, guys, there are other methods as well, like using those little brushes, all that kind of stuff, and I do use that. Again, the little brushes I like to use, I'll link them down in the description for you guys. I like to use those. I don't use them as much on my foam pads. You can, I don't. I use them on the microfiber pads a lot. But basically, I typically like to just, the compressed air is my friend. That's my favorite way to do it. It blows everything out, gets it all good to go. Now, those two pads that I did, right, those are gonna be ready for me to work with. Like I said, there still can be some dusting that's gonna come from them when I first start. Well, how do I get around that? Well, I have my compressed air, so right away I'll blow them out real quick. Usually comes out perfect after that. If there's still a little bit, I'll actually saturate the pad with a little bit of just clean water. Saturate a couple squirts. It's gonna help absorb, keep all that stuff together. And it's basically like priming the pad. You've heard a lot of times when you're polishing a car, you wanna prime the pad, get everything all saturated. Well, that's the same idea. We're kind of saturating everything back, applying our compound polish, you know, whatever it is, and we can get back after it without causing any dusting. All right, guys, so that's it. I've got a whole stack of pads here that I need to work through, so I'm gonna go ahead and get back after it, but I wanted to make this video really quickly for you guys so you have an idea of what my process is on how to save my pads, prolong them so I can get the most out of them. Again, they get very expensive. The pads I use will be linked in the description. Super clean, all that kind of good stuff. That's it. I hope that helps you guys. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you're subscribed, turn on that notification bell. We'll see you on the next one.